On this glorious Wednesday morning in Huntington Beach, California, we proudly and eagerly welcome you to opening day at the 2023 World Beach Ultimate Championships. We begin in the women's division, USA and Spain to begin this tournament for the first time in 6 years. With Katie Killebrew, I'm Evan Lepler on behalf of our entire crew, Ulti-World Producing. Welcome to the World Beach Ultimate Championships. Katie, it's been since 2017 in France since we saw this event delayed numerous times, yet here we are, and man, it feels amazing to be here.
It does. I mean, you couldn't really ask for a better day for Beach Ultimate. The sun is shining. There's only a slight breeze. You can see the surfers out. And then we had such a great opening ceremony this morning. All of the teams showing up for the walkthrough, the Parade of Nations, standing in front of their flags. And it was really just a truly special environment. Yeah, you can feel just a reinvigorated energy for all the Beach Ultimate lovers that are out there. Royan, France in 2017 was the last time this event was held. This time it's only 5 divisions, but who cares? We still got 45 teams. We've still got tons of great players from all around the world. And one of the interesting storylines of the tournament that we get to discuss right off the bat, Katie, is the fact that in 2017 every USA team won except for the American women, who blew a 10-6 lead in that final to Russia. Unfortunately, Russia is not here. We're not going to get into all the reasons why, but this is a Spanish team that the Americans are going to see today that is going to be, we think, somewhat competitive. And for the USA women, they've been waiting for a long time to retake the beach and show what they can do. Yeah, these players came to this roster so long ago, and talking with them, they're so excited to be here. But for Spain specifically, they're I would say almost a beach specialist team. They really play a lot of beach ultimate in Spain, known for their tiki-taka or like back and forth ultimate style, which in talking to the USA coaches, they were very ready to play. But I think we're going to say some really good ultimate here on this field. Yeah, this is a Spanish team that went 6-1 in pool play in 2017. Their only loss in pool play came to the Americans. They ended up finishing 7th place and losing in quarters. Opening ceremonies in the books. Opening pull right after this. Picture perfect conditions, not a whole lot of wind, and a couple folks said that the beach is feeling pretty fast right now. It may get slower as the week gets on, as the sand gets pounded and moshed around, but right now I expect a pretty speedy game from beach standpoint. And USA and Spain in a game to 13. These beach games are quick. How quick? Well, if it's not over in 45 minutes, they put an end to it by saying the next point wins, basically. Robin Fenig is back on Team USA along with Natalie Bova. Looking fly. Robin will be in the broadcast booth later this afternoon. Here we go. The World Beach Ultimate Championships are back, and the opening pull sails out the back, and it is a smaller field, so the throwers will need to calibrate for that dynamic. We're chatting with Sean McCall and Sam Broadus, the coaches for Team USA Women's, before the game, Katie, and they're talking about different throwing radiuses, and just it's a different game than beach, and most of these American players were playing at Nationals a week and a half ago. Yeah, on grass. Opening deep shot for Becky Malinowski.
one of the returners from the USA Beach team in 2017. Bridget Meisner up the line. Claudia Tajima puts the USA team on top 1-0 in less than a minute. Becky Malinowski has been a really steady producer, both on the grass and on the sand for Brute Squad and obviously Team USA. And the University of Michigan alum is still really, really quick on any surface she plays on. Katie?
Absolutely, and I think especially you can see there playing with Brute Squad, the height in the end zone is exponentially more valuable on beach. She's so good at getting there on grass, and I expect to see her contributing in that end zone space for the United States later on in this tournament, if not next point.
Becky winning her 4th club national championship just 10 days ago. About 100 miles south of here, give or take.
Yeah, a lot of these players ended up staying in the space, that pole landing right in the back of the end zone.
Christina Navasa, one of the captains, receives the centering pass, and her attempt to connect with Isa Gutierrez Prada does not work out, so Robin Fennig picks up and quickly connects with Claire Trope, and it's 2-0 USA.
Well, we did say that Beach moved fast, and that is exactly what Team USA is doing so far, really capitalizing on that. Maybe just too speedy of a throw off the bat from Spain. And you can see here that immediately players are getting back on offense and changing direction in the sand is there, and Trope just does such a good job of stopping in the end zone, letting the defender run by and being there right in the front end zone space.
Knowing these players the way you do, how surprised are you that it's Robin Fennig picking up after the turn, looking immediately to Claire Trope?
I would say my surprise level is 0. My surprise level is 0.
You could not be less surprised?
I could not be less surprised, exactly. It is interesting to see how these players will transition to grass. They've been practicing since Sunday, and I'm expecting them to be able to make that transition quickly. Spain known for their back and forth play. This is their O-line back on the field.
Isa Gutierrez Prada dishes back to Sam Zyke. And Navasa's huck, will it float enough? No, just off the fingertips of the bidding Isa Gutierrez Prada. And the second turn of the game gives the Americans another break chance. This time they'll have to go to length of the field. Steph Lim will pick up. She's got Jesse Schaffner nearby in the backfield. Dishes to the Nashville star. And the huck looking for Lindsay McKenna. And so far, this USA disc movement has been virtually unimpeded. This is Maggie O'Connor. Back to McKenna. Lim shakes free and then throws it right into the sand. She had 2 open targets, and Steph Lim obviously wants that throw back.
Yeah, turnovers when you're running in the sand feel a little bit worse when you have to go the full length of the field. I think this is a long tournament, multiple days, so teams are going to be trying to limit the amount of extra sprinting that they're having to do.
Yeah, the format in the women's division, there are just 7 teams here competing. USA, Great Britain, Canada are the top 3 seeds. Spain is the 4 seed. And the huck for the Spaniards, sending Isa Gutierrez Prada. And the 35-year-old has Spain's first goal of the day.
Yeah, that throw came in so nicely in that space, just slicing. There was no chance for the defender to get it into that back end zone space. And that's kind of the throw that you expect and really like to see from a beach throw. You can see here again, it goes up and then just sits there. Steph Lim tries to get there, but it's really right only for the receiver to be able to get it. And that was such great work by Gutierrez Prada to put herself in that space.
Not all that often you see number 62 throwing it deep to number 61, but that's what we had there. Jenny Nairn, the neuroscientist from Basel, playing for Team Spain here in California. Quick look at Sam Broadus, the coach of USA. She played in the USA mixed team in Dubai. Has been coaching grit in the women's division recently. There's Sam. USA O-line. Malinowski with Rudin and Jamie Erickson downfield. Bridget Meisner, former UNC Pleiades star, picking up the disc with Claudia Tajima in the backfield. Meisner sending Malinowski.
Yeah, and those are the kind of throws and turnovers I would honestly expect on day one of a beach tournament. Two players transitioning from grass to beach. It's just a little bit too far. Players are running at a different speed in the sand, and that calibration of throws is really important to connect to. Spain, alternatively, having played in the sand a lot, may have less calibration on their throws to do than the U.S. team.
First break chance for the Spain D-line. Aida Trevino Peña able to get the around complete to Alba Martinez Marti. Arancha Lopez just out of the reach on the reset attempt for Elena Andres Tere. Tajima for Erickson. Jamie Erickson had a great season with DC Scandal in the USAU women's division. Meisner able to connect with Erickson in the end zone. It is interesting, Katie, so close to club nationals for players that were just competing against each other at the climax of their season with so much emotion and so much going into it. They're now teammates. Like Becky Malinowski got the last laugh in the final 10 days ago, but now she's teammates with Jamie Erickson. They're representing America.
I mean, I think that that's really true of any team that you will see on the world stage, that there's players who are competing against each other with their club teams for national championships in their own nation, and then when they go to the World Games, they're all teammates. It's really part of what makes the culture of Ultimate great, is that, you know, you're playing against your friends, and that level of respect and camaraderie is really important, especially in a sport like ours, which is self-officiated.
Robin Fenig launching the pull for USA. Halftime's at 7. There's no real halftime break. They just continue mirroring what we saw at the start of the game, which was Spain pulling to the U.S., so Spain will receive once the first team hits 7. Navasa back to Zyke. Good short disc movement. That disc stays up. Caught a little sand on the lift, but Navasa keeps it alive for Spain. Navasa floats it out for Zyke. Nice touch on the reset throw. Fenig bidding into the back of Naren. Uncontested foul. Not serious contact, but enough to make the call.
No, and just as a reminder for our American viewers, this is with the WFDF rule set, so...
Claire Trope was inches away from the block, Katie, but could not get there, and Spain has its second score. Nat Lamont in the end zone for Spain.
Yeah. Really great spacing there in the beach, and good body control from Trope. It's interesting, you know, to see these players coming in and playing. I think that the patience that Spain used on that last line, really moving the disc conscientiously. Like the USA is known for having physical defense and very athletic players, and so they're being very careful with their shots and trying to do that against the very tight U.S. defense. It's really good work there by Spain to keep possession of that disc all the way down the field, going sideline to sideline. It's really good fundamentals from them as a whole team effort on offense.
So USA took a 2-0 lead with a quick break immediately, but Spain has converted on its last 2 0 points. Deep shot this time. Eriksson doesn't have room. Sailed wayward across the near sideline. And it's another break opportunity for Spain.
Yeah, these are the opportunities that Spain is really going to need to capitalize on. Their roster is a little bit smaller than the U.S. roster, but it's the first game of the tournament. This is the only game that's being played right now, and so it's really all to play for Spain.
All eyes in the tournament, all eyes of the ultimate world on this particular game right now. And how about that? Ellie Mellick swatted the reset attempt, but it was caught on the ricochet. And then Carmen Toscano-Sanchez throws it away, trying to connect with Patino up the line.
Yeah, the focus to catch that disc is great, but then to get it to another player is really difficult, as we would say, to conserve the greatness.
Meisner for Tajima. Eriksson. And just from a size standpoint, Katie, I mean, the Meisner in the backfield has the size of Eriksson downfield. Ellie Mellick downfield. Malinowski not on this point, but I don't know there's a team in the world that can match up with that length as Eriksson catches another goal. I mean, it was what made the Russians so tough with the Pustavaya sisters that were long, and Olga Podolskaya, Dina Dumanskaya were the stars of that Russians team that won gold 6 years ago. Let's see if anyone has just the sheer size and physicality to match up with this American women's team. I'm not sure there's another team out there.
Well, we'll see, because size matters, but, it's going to get windy. It's beach, especially this afternoon. I expect that to happen. And right now, the U.S.'s turns have come completely unforced. They're really throwing it out of bounds. But those are the things that you really can't give away in a tournament like this. Obviously, it's the first game. Obviously, we're going to get better. We're going to see them adjust into this playing. But it's possessions like that will matter, especially in a setup where you will play every team in the division.
Looking deep. Jenny Serena-Snarin, a few inches shy of the spectacular score.
It almost looked like she hesitated there as the disc fluttered in flight just beyond her fingertips. I think if she had run full out for the full, since that huck went up, that would have been a score for Spain.
Lim will pick up, working with Schaffner in the backfield. Bova, O'Connor, and McKenna also out there for the Americans. And McKenna rips a laser too far for Jesse Schaffner.
Yeah. Just a little bit too quick on that release, and there isn't enough footsteps in the world maybe to make up that much ground between you and the disc in that end zone space.
Katie, as a Southern California resident, how much Beach Ultimate have you played through the years?
I have played a lot of Beach Ultimate, especially this is, we're in November. Other places, it's not quite the weather that you get here, and it's really beautiful. And it's a privilege to get to play in things like this. But, sometimes you can play a whole club season and then you go to play beach league, and it really humbles you with how much more difficult it is to run in the sand point after point. Right
now, 77 degrees, feels like 81. Weather all weekend long, looking beautiful. And Spain with a beautiful conversion on their second opportunity of the point. It's 4-3.
Yeah, just one of the things I'm really appreciating about this Spanish team is they are doing a really good job of breaking the mark on those inside lanes and creating space for each other. You can see that inside throw there from Zayt goes out, and they're just using the momentum of the disc towards that break side, really opening up the space. Once you get to the break space in beach, it's very difficult for the defense to recover, and I think it's really important that Spain keeps doing that. We talked about the U.S. coaches. They were talking about trying to shut down the easy throw on stall 0 or stall 1, and they're trying to play tight defense. Spain, I think, has risen to that as we've aged into this game, and they're trying to make more connections. The spectators out here, the fellow Team Spain members in the shade.
I mean, this really is an amazing location for people that have never seen Ultimate before to just wander up and say, what's this, and become transfixed by the flags, the attitude, the athleticism, the international nature. Ellie Mellick in the end zone from Meisner.
Yeah, Meisner is really distributing the disc well for USA right now. And we've just been training. We had that break early in the game, but now it's these two teams really with the offensive possessions. I want to see somebody get a D in this game, Evan. Somebody's going to have to step up in that space. We're seeing a little bit maybe a softer defense on the resets. They're poaching in those lanes, and I think that you can't just poach a little bit. You either have to fully poach and commit to it or play tight dump defense, and one of these teams has to do something a little bit different, because right now they're just moving the disc down the field.
We have seen 9 turnovers in the first 8 points, but most of them have been on deep shots that have not been calibrated properly, that have been too long, the type of turns you expect on day 1 of the first international beach tournament at the world's level in 6 years. But I agree with you. It's going to happen sooner or later, and it's going to change the game when it does.
Yeah, and I think that it feels so good to be that player that causes a disruption for the other team, a real momentum shift to be that defensive player. I know a lot of players, we talk about O-lines touching the disc a lot, but it is really special to be that player who gets the layout D, and it can absolutely change your whole game and tournament.
15 yards walked off, and the huck goes up. Zyke sending it, and Narin runs it down. Zyke has calibrated the deep throws, and Spain is hanging around here, game 1 of the tournament.
Yeah, well, I do have to shout out number 70, Sam Zyke, better known to the Frisbee community as Broccoli, as she was my college roommate.
How about that?
We were roommates for 4 years after college as well, and I have been on the receiving end of that throw. There's absolutely no surprise in me that low release forehand went up immediately on that first throw. But she moved to Spain to teach English, and told me she was going to move back, and never did, and has been there and really has really been a force for women's ultimate in Spain. She's very passionate about the women's game. She actually spent several months playing in India and coaching women's coaches in India to bring ultimate around the world. So it's really special to be able to highlight a person that I love because she's my roommate, but also because she's doing really great things for Team Spain and women's ultimate around the world.
I did ask her before the game what kind of roommate you were, and there was a little tension there. Little. I mean, I don't know if it was about the clothes being on the floor or the dishes left in the sink or what.
It was the dishes. I'm not great at doing dishes. My husband will tell you the same thing.
Great to see Crystal Davis back on the ultimate field. Claire Trope connecting with Pitt Caithley, and Davis is open. Crystal, 40 years old, has had such a tremendous ultimate career. She says that she's fully retiring from competitive ultimate after this event. And the quote was, "God help me if I ever do another track workout again." But Crystal, in the words of her coach, just ageless on sand, so fast, so quick, and her speed on display there. USA leads 6-4.
Yeah, absolutely. She started in the handler space, and then as they broke across the field, she ran deep. And I think that that's one of the things that really exemplifies what Crystal Davis brings to this team is throwing and moving quickly and really being aware of the patterns of play, putting herself in really great positions to continue for her teammates.
And everywhere you look, there's another superstar on the line for USA. That's just kind of the way it feels at an event like this. USA with an opportunity here to break and take it to half. Again, halftime will be quick. That throw is low, but it stays up, or does it? Schaffner seems to be thinking it may be down, and they agree that it's up, and it'll be Spain's disc.
Yeah, in true beach fashion, there are currently no game advisors on the field or at this tournament, really relying on players to resolve calls quickly, just like that, and get back to playing.
The Spain O-line has looked pretty solid after a shaky turn on their first possession. And that's a nice job of taking what's there. Zyke from Navasa. 6'5". Both offenses settling in now, Katie. No turns for either side on each of their last 2 O points.
Yeah, another look at this up-down call.
On sand. I mean, how can you call that one way or another?
I think that's very difficult sometimes to see, because as your hand hits probably first, it's also sending sand up. So is the sand part of the beach, or is the sand flying in the air? I think it's one of those things that you just have to, I think, spirit of the game on some of those, especially in sand. And if you can't agree, you can always send it back.
Overall in 2017, the Spain team finished 8-5 in their 13 games. As I said earlier, they went 6-1 in pool play, but they went 0-2 in the power pools. They lost to Russia and GB in the power pools. Universe win over the Czech Republic in pre-quarters, but then lost to Canada in quarters. They did beat the hometown team France in the 7th place game 12-9, but finishing 7th that year was pretty good, considering the depth of the field, and also considering that the last time Spain attended Beach Worlds was back in 2011 before 2017, and they finished 11th out of 11 in 2011. Malinowski. Unguardable.
Yeah, Meisner is really being the linchpin, I think, for this USA O-line, or what is the O rotation. Moving really quickly with the disc. She does it on grass, but I think it's even more effective on the beach. Really distributing. And you can see here just how calm, cool, and collected she looks getting the disc there and distributing it towards the end zone. There's a lot of targets, but they're moving the mark and flooding it into space on that far side. Meisner doing a lot of work. She's one of the players I really like watching for Team USA, and they're connecting with Malinowski to take them to halftime and the mirror, because there's no break for half here on the beach. It's go, go, go.
I like it. Meisner, a part of that North Carolina women's ultimate dynasty at the college level. Saw Phoenix come up short against Ericsson's Scandal team in the quarterfinals. But I don't think we're that far away from Phoenix breaking through at Club Nationals.
I agree. They haven't yet been able to translate the winning at the college level to winning at the club level, but it feels like an inevitability that those players are really going to make an impact, because there is such a groundswell of activity. And I think that that's exciting to see, especially on the world stage, is that the impact that local programs can have, bringing players up, giving them opportunities to play, really shows itself here. I know that a lot of players got their start at the club level in Spain, playing beach, playing small towns in Spain, all over Spain. I think every area of Spain represented by this Spanish team, for example.
After a tough drop from Navasa, Joe's hammer, Scuber, out of the reach of Claire Trope on the high stall situation. Those are the first turnovers since the score was 3-3, so it had been a pretty good string of turnover-free ultimate. Or since the score was 4-2, I should say. Tumbling down but hanging on, Gutierrez Prada. And there's the dump defense, but again, a deflection does not lead immediately to a turn. And yet the ensuing throw is a turn from Navasa.
A lot of players collecting themselves after the excitement of that huck and then the defensive stand outside of the end zone for USA.
Fenig to Trope, and she'll send it the length of the field. Joe in pursuit.
Now, it might be difficult to see on this screen, but that disc actually landed inbounds.
Yeah.
But it's so difficult to make up that difference in distance while running. Although, as a coach, I want to say effort all the way until the disc hits the ground to see what you can do, especially because there's so many spectators over there. I think we would have gotten a great crowd reaction if she had managed to reel that in. But giving Spain another chance at this.
Yeah, 4 turnovers on this point after we had 5 consecutive points without a turn. Zyke picks up the disc. No stranger to the Huntington Beach area, growing up, attending school at USC, Southern Cal. Big layout from Crystal Davis. Face full of sand, but right back up, setting the mark. And there's the layout block you've been waiting for, Katie, courtesy of Robin Fenig.
Yeah, that was an excellent catch block, putting it up into space.
But her throw up the line preserves greatness just a smidge as the defender anticipated the up line idea to Trope.
Yeah, that stall count was rising. It's so difficult to get a block like that, but it's just excellent anticipation there from Fenig, who gets up. And then this one is also on the line, Trope having to keep herself inbound. But not necessarily the other player. Each
team gets 1 timeout a game. Spain uses theirs here. 6 turnovers on this first point of the second half, and still nobody scored. USA leads Spain 7-5. Opening game, Beach Worlds 2023. Palm trees and sunshine, 80 degrees, Beach Ultimate. Where else in the world would you rather be than right here, right now?
I mean, nowhere. For me, this tournament is really special. Being a Southern California Ultimate player, it feels really special to welcome the world and our viewers into what Southern California has to offer. I know you've seen it in movies, you've seen it, the film industry is based here, but really to have these players here on the pier, and we watch people go up and down the pier asking, what is this sport? What are you doing? Wow, that's really exciting, and really being able to interact with people who are brand new to the sport and having them see it at this high of a level is really great. So welcome all of you who are joining us for this broadcast. It's great to have you here to join us on the shores of Huntington Beach, right by the pier.
The famous pier. I've not had a chance to walk down it yet, but perhaps after this game we've got a little round off for lunch and Did you say have you felt the water yet this morning?
I have not felt the water yet this morning. I have felt the sand, and it is as you said, a little bit speedy, which is nice.
Excited to get the ankles wet, the bare minimum later on today. Spain out of the timeout. It's been a long 13th point in this opening round game. Spain entering as the 4 seed, so for sure their ambition is to make the semifinals. And Crystal Davis, they're going to call that a clean block. A little bit of body contact with Narin, but not enough for a call. Fenig picks up, sending Davis. The angled backhand will sail too far. These are the points, especially on the beach, where you almost wish you could use that timeout to get subs on the field. I mean, it's a grind. This point's been going on for about 6-7 minutes. At
least. I think it's interesting to note also that there's a lot of space on this field, right? There's only 5 players from each team, and so there are lots of areas of the field that look so open. And in grass, they would be. But in this beach space, they're just not catchable unless the player is deeply anticipating that look. And we're seeing miscues happen, especially on the USA side, really trying to attack that space, but not able to get there. Yeah, you could hear the USA coach yelling side stack away, trying to get more space right in front of the disc. It does mean more running down the line, though.
Davis is open, and this point comes to a close on the 5th break chance of the point for the Americans. Davis converts the score, and it's 8-5.
Yeah, that was certainly not the most beautiful point of beach ultimate that we've seen, but that last possession with Davis going to the end zone, really finding that space, anticipating the moment again. I guess I couldn't highlight enough how valuable anticipation is in this iteration of ultimate. It almost looks easy, as if she's walking on that angle, but the amount of sprinting she did to get into that space, to be ready for that throw, cannot be overstated. There's a lot of running in the sand to get to that place.
Yeah, the official dimensions of the field, 75 meters long from the back of one end zone to the back of the other end zone, 45 meters from the front of the end zones apart, the end zones being 15 meters in depth, and the field 25 meters wide. So it's, considerably smaller than a grass ultimate field, but still pretty darn big, especially 5-on-5.
Yes.
McKenna pulls for USA, their first 3-goal lead of the game. Wide open, deep threat is Carmen Toscano Sanchez. Gutierrez Prada. Difficult reset and a diving grab made by the captain Navasa. Swing it to the sideline, and it's out of bounds. You can almost feel the USA defensive pressure mounting over the course of the game. There are multiple lines of great athletes suffocating the Spanish offense.
Yeah, and these are two teams that have essentially really never played each other. There's very few players who've played for the national or teams on this level. This tournament hasn't happened since 2017, and so there's a lot of learning the player that you're matching up against. And I think as they've gotten more experience against this O-line, the USA defense is doing a better job of shutting down Spain's resets.
Jesse Schaffner takes the timeout. That's the one timeout of the game for USA. On this break opportunity, it was cool to see Steph Lim setting the traffic and leading the offensive charge for the D-line. We'll take the timeout, too, on the beaches here in Southern California. USA 8, Spain 5 here in the second half. Picturesque scene here in Huntington Beach, California. 8-5 USA leads here in the second half. Schaffner took the timeout. USA slightly across the half-field point on this charge, trying to create more separation and put this game out of reach. We are 7 minutes and change away from the cap. Right where we're at now, we may not make 13, although we've also seen goals come quickly, and that's a difficult throw, but it works out. Beautiful touch from Natalie Bova, and she jumps into her receiver's arms. Lindsay McKenna with the highlight for USA.
I mean, that was maybe slightly more difficult than they had drawn it up, but I think that that's exactly how USA drew it up coming out of that timeout, really wanting to punch in this throw. And it's looking into this near sideline, and McKenna just snatches it out of the sky. You can see that there's just so much space in front of Bova, not really contested. There's no mark on her in that space, and that's one of the things that I think a lot of teams fall into the trap on Beach, is that they don't set difficult marks because they're trying to poach in those lanes. They know that the person's going to throw and go. But the uncontested throws, as teams get better at putting the disc into space, is going to be, I think, playing into USA's hands.
McKenna's a star player that perhaps some in the world don't know about yet, but she was a gold medalist with the USA U24 mixed team in Heidelberg, Germany back in 2019. Member of the mixed team, Philly Ant, that's always in the mix at USAU Nationals, but here playing women's on the beach. And Caithley has the block, quickly picks it up and holsters what would have been a contested deep shot for Fenig. Found a contested under, but it worked out anyway. Joe to Trope, and just leading Robin a smidge too far on the doorstep of the goal line.
Yeah, giving this Spanish side another look at this, I think that they do a good job of calmly walking up to the disc, and that was just too far for Fenig on that USA score attempt.
I mean, that's the type of throw that goes up on grass. It's an easy score. You have the angle, you have the space, you just float it to space. On sand, you need to be a little bit more precise, sometimes a lot more precise, depending on how much space we're talking about. Something of a prayer, but it's angling back toward the field, and Claire Trope there to contest the catch from Isa Gutierrez Prada.
Yeah, that disc hung up in the air for so long, letting the players run underneath it, but eventually running out of real estate under the pressure of Trope.
Robin, 36 years old, originally from Milwaukee, now living in Sacramento. He's had a storied career on and off the field. She's played all around the world. sense fatigue starting to set in for the Spain defense, and the USA just slices and dices on that possession. Claire Trope finishes the point as the USA team now leads by 5 after 3 straight goals here in the second half, and 4 straight. This was a 6-5 game late in that first half, Katie.
Yeah, the defensive adjustment that the U.S. made to really take away Spain's resets, forcing them into those high stall situations, is messing with the flow of this tiki-taka, like back and forth, quick Spain movement that they're used to, that they thrive in. And I think that it's very astute of the USA coaches to keep forcing that issue. And alternatively, on offense, they're actually starting to execute more. In the first half, we saw a lot of discs sailing out of bounds, and we talked about calibrating those throws, throwing to the space, making those connections, and USA is starting to do that much better in the second half.
I asked USA assistant coach Sean McCall before the game if the team had had any conversation at all about, the pressure of winning gold, or the situation being that the American women did not win gold 6 years ago. And he basically said, no, they have not talked about that at all. He said, we know if we play our best, we'll be where we want to be. Great layout block from McKenna coming underneath.
Yeah, tight defensive pressure there from McKenna, yielding the turnover. Maggie O'Connor now picking up with the disc.
McKenna, who had the block, throws the score to Schaffner. Are you satisfied with the defense we've seen here lately, Katie?
Yeah, I said earlier in the game that I wanted to see layouts. I wanted to see some defensive linchpins, and that energy coming from McKenna has really been exactly what I asked for. Such a good line that she's taking, putting pressure there, and then this poise to fake and then put it to the opposite side where Schaffner was just waiting, lurking in that end zone space to get that score. And now giving a helping hand to clean the sand out of McKenna's eyes. I think that's exactly what Lindsay McKenna needed. A little helping hand.
I don't know if you call this hitting for the cycle in Ultimate, but McKenna's got a goal, an assist, a block, and a turn so far in this game.
Yeah, there's some players that are really ratcheting it up on the scoreboard. McKenna, one of them, especially in this second half. But very well spread out. There's a lot of different people contributing on this USA Tide to those scores.
Both these teams will play 2 games today, 3 games tomorrow, and then their final pool play game will be Friday morning, at which point Pool A will split off into 2 other pools. Pool B will be the top 3 teams from the first 6-game round robin. Those 3 teams will go to another round robin just to set up seeding for the semis, whereas teams 4 through 7 in the initial round robin will play another round robin, 3 more games, and that's teams battling for 1 spot as Pitt Caithley with a well-timed poach knocks it down. This all leads to semifinals Saturday and then the championship here on Sunday. Ellie Mellick floats it high. Malinowski is there. It is all USA here in the second half to start this first Beach Worlds event in a half dozen years.
Yeah, USA really putting themselves right on the doorstep of taking this game as the cap time is about to run out. It doesn't matter because now game will be to 13.
Third goal of the game for Malinowski, set up by the well-timed block from Lisa P. Dina Tebeki, USA on the brink of their first win here at Beach Worlds 2023.
Yeah, the execution that we see in that throw from Ella Mellick to Malinowski is right on. So here we are on the doorstep of that win, and really it's do or die for Spain. I think that especially if there's up and downs in this bracket play, we might see point diff start to matter between teams.
What have been your biggest takeaways from Spain? I mean, the first half, they had the one hiccup on their opening 0 point, and then they scored on their next 5 0 points and really looked good out there, I thought.
For me, I think that they are not taking the easy reset at stall, 0 or 1, and then they're not necessarily getting another chance at those dump looks. So they need to take what's open earlier.
That will snap the 6-0 run as Spain able to get at least one more on the board. And it's the third goal for Nat Lamont. 12-6. Americans knocking on the door of their first win.
Oh, he's getting the crowd going.
Middle of the field. Sean McDougal says, give me that.
What a play there from the Atlanta Hustle as they go up 1.
What a moment here in Minnesota.
Back here in Huntington Beach, USA on offense, 1 goal away from taking this opening game, and on the huck from Robin Fenig, it's Becky Malinowski on the receiving end to put a bow on this opening game to Beach Worlds 2023. USA over Spain, 13-6.
Yeah, USA did not waste one movement in that offensive possession, really moving the disc back and forth and hitting Malinowski in stride in that end zone. I think really showing the growth that they had through that game. Maybe starting a little wobbly, but certainly not ending that way.
4 goals for Malinowski, and Fenig with her second assist. She also had a spectacular layout catch block as USA gets its tournament started with a solid win. I'm sure that coaches Broadus and McCall will have some things to tighten up, particularly on some of the deep shots, Katie. We saw some turns happen in the deep space, but overall, USA scores 13 times, only turns it over 9 times, and they look pretty hard to guard, especially in the sand.
Yeah, that's certainly not an assignment I envy of Spain at the moment, or any other team really facing them at this tournament. I think it's a mark of the depth of the United States that it's really difficult to guard all 5 of them, as we saw from the variety of players that were contributing in that space, and all credit to Spain for how well they played, especially at the beginning. I think that this is a team that's really going to grow in the tournament, and I know that they're looking to make a name for themselves in the international space, especially on beach in the women's game.
And we are now joined from down on the field by Crystal Davis. Crystal, welcome. Congrats on getting off this tournament started the way I'm sure you all wanted. How does it feel to be back on the sand playing for Team USA?
It is really exciting, and at this stage of my career, it's just a privilege to be playing with such talented women.
I heard you said that you never want to do another track workout again, but the body still looks pretty fast on the beach. How'd you feel out there?
To be very honest, I was struggling, but I was trying to keep up. First game, still getting my legs under me, so hoping I still have some energy left for the rest.
Yeah, you did a really good job anticipating and finishing off points in that space. How do you feel like you're using your experience to aid this U.S. Journey towards gold, I'm trying to get to?
Yeah, I think at this point I know better what I'm good at, and I know how to watch what other people are good at, let them do their thing, and then fill where they need me.
Crystal, what's it been like building camaraderie around this team that's had so much anticipation for this event, and you're finally here competing? What has it been like building that chemistry?
It's been a lot of fun. I wish we could spend even more time together, but it's great to have this whole week. It's been a long build-up, 2 years since we tried out. Everyone else is still playing club. I've been training all by myself, so I've been really looking forward to this moment.
Are your children here, Crystal?
They're coming next weekend.
Very cool.
They're not old enough to appreciate what's going on, though.
Well, they will be one day to see Mom out there making layout bids like that. Congrats on a great start. Look forward to seeing you the rest of the week here in Huntington Beach.
Thank you. We're excited.
Thank you for joining us. That's Crystal Davis, originally from Hawaii, and she's had a really incredible career. Scandal, Molly Brown, Space Heater, Shame, Schwa, USA, and now one more chance for Crystal wearing the red, white, and blue. We are off! The first Beach Worlds in half a dozen years. It is amazing to be back, and our broadcast coverage will continue from now until Sunday. Next game is another women's game. First glimpse at Canada and Japan. That is about 70 minutes from now, 1 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern for those in the United States. Robin Fenig throws the dime. Becky Malinowski closes it out. USA over Spain, 13-6. For Katie Killebrew and our whole crew, Evan Lepler saying so long, but we are just getting started here in Huntington Beach.